From saying that he actually hates acting, to his recent movies having all bombed at the box office, this is why Johnny Depp needs to retire. The man has gone on record saying that he hates seeing himself on screen, which doesn't quite work if you're a professional actor, right? Apparently, he doesn't watch any of his movies, unless he absolutely has to. The talented actor also admitted that he struggled with auditions in his younger days, even calling himself a young idiot, and realized that auditioning had very little to do with the performance and more with connection. He felt it was all nonsense, the way actors are required to deliver and be at the top of their game all the time. But he also gave some insight into his process. Depp said that whenever it comes to reading film scripts, he focuses only on the dialogue and purposefully ignores all the directions. He believes that acting is more about reacting than anything. I guess that's one way to be authentic, but not sure how his directors feel about this. Also, it sounds a lot like self-loathing. But hey, troubled artist and all that fits right in with his quirky persona. He took this hating on everything to the next level when he said he hated actors turned musicians. Back in 2015, at the premiere of his movie Mordecai in Berlin, he told reporters that he finds actors who turn to music sickening and swore that he would never start a band. That's rich coming from someone who is a musician too. He clarified that he was lucky enough to play music with his friends and that it was still a part of his life. Over the years, he has played the guitar for big names like Oasis, Iggy Pop, and Shane MacGowan. In fact, just a year after these big words, he joined a band, the Hollywood Vampires they call themselves. It was kind of like a super band, with members of Alice Cooper, Aerosmith, and Guns N' Roses coming together. Sure, it wasn't called the Johnny Depp Band, which he promised would never happen, but hey, a band is a band. Skip to 2022, and he released a collaborative album with the legendary Jeff Beck. The album is called 18, and ended up being the final studio album by Beck before he passed away in 2023. But the point is, Depp always wanted to be a musician first, and acting started out as just a job. Hear me out though, maybe he should retire from acting and make music full-time. In fact, he has spoken about retirement multiple times. The first time was back in 2013, during an interview with the BBC. He said that the end of his acting career wasn't too far away, and that he wanted to move on to quieter life, away from the limelight. He said that he wasn't quitting immediately, but eventually. Depp pointed out that there was almost something unnatural about the profession. He explained it like this: if you add up all the dialogue that you say over the years, you realize that you've spoken words written by others more than you've spoken your own words. And once you start thinking about it, it's kinda nuts to live like that. At the time, his latest release was an adaptation of The Lone Ranger, and it was doing pretty badly at the US box office. Apparently, Disney lost a staggering $150 million on that outing. Ouch. So maybe, just maybe, Depp was feeling kinda demotivated at the time and wanted to give it all up and retire. But he's generally been disillusioned with the celebrity lifestyle, and for a while now. In an interview with Rolling Stone magazine in 2014, he gave us some insight into what his retirement plans might look like. He spoke about just living life, which is about as vague as it gets. But he did talk about living a life that didn't involve constantly being on the run, or sneaking into a place through a kitchen, or even having to navigate the maze of a hotel just to avoid prying eyes. Incidentally, this was also the interview in which he announced his engagement to Amber Heard. And we all know how that ended. Now, Depp has always had a bit of a wild child reputation, and initially it was a part of his charm. But slowly that started to wear off, as his bad behavior just got a little bit out of control. He was accused of assaulting a crew member on the set of his movie City of Lies. Back in 2018, there was a lawsuit filed by the film's location manager, Greg Brooks, against Johnny Depp. The claim was that Depp punched him twice on set, and even offered him $100,000 to return the favor. Depp settled out of court in July 2022. The incident occurred when he informed Depp that the permits for filming at the Barclay Hotel in Los Angeles had expired. Depp wanted to shoot a longer version of a scene, and Brooks managed to secure 2 extensions to accommodate him. But by 11 p.m., filming had to come to a halt. When Brooks informed director Brad Furman about the situation, Furman responded by saying that he could go tell Depp that himself. And when Brooks did that, Depp got really angry, telling the location manager he had no right to tell him what to do. Brooks also said that Depp was clearly drunk and had even seen him taking drugs on set. To make things worse, they tried to get Brooks to sign off on the fact that he wouldn't sue for this incident. He chose to quit instead and sue Johnny Depp. You know what? It's not difficult to believe that Depp did beat the guy up under the influence. He's had trouble with addiction in the past, too. Back in the 90s, he started a club with River Phoenix called the Viper Room, and it was wild. It got so bad that he lost his friend and partner River to a drug overdose right at the club's entrance. It was clearly a pattern, because in the Amber Heard trial, his excessive ways stood out. And whichever side of the story you're on, it's not easy to ignore the insane things that Depp did. The man needs a mental health break. Heard said that the first instance of physical abuse by him was when he slapped her thrice for laughing at one of his tattoos. During the proceedings, Heard testified about several additional instances of physical violence. She talked about incidents where Depp allegedly slapped her, threw her to the ground, forcefully grabbed her by the hair, pushed her against a wall, headbutted her, and even threw objects at her, such as drinking glasses and a cell phone. During the trial, Depp also admitted to trashing several hotel rooms when he was having a bad day. He also added that he didn't think there was something odd about it. It's just something people do when they're angry, but only if they're Johnny Depp, I guess. In another fight with his ex-wife, he cut his finger pretty badly. What he did next is pretty odd. He used his bleeding finger to write messages on the wall. After the blood dried, he stuck his severed finger into a can of paint and continued writing. Clearly, Depp was unstable and a danger to himself and others. He also made a shocking revelation about his childhood. It seems that young Johnny was subjected to severe physical abuse by his mother. Depp has had it tough, and it's not getting any easier. Many of his recent movie releases have flopped. Now, he may have won the defamation case against Amber Heard, but the damage to his own reputation has been massive too. He is a wife-beater, and many fans have turned on him. In a way, they also feel betrayed by him, and it shows. The actor has had a string of flops since the whole divorce and defamation scandal started. Immediately after the divorce proceedings, his Alice in Wonderland sequel, Alice Through the Looking Glass, bombed at the box office. And here's the interesting thing. According to Deadline, only 35% of people cited Depp as a major reason for watching Alice Through the Looking Glass, compared to 51% who said that their major reason for watching the previous film was Depp. Clearly, the audience was losing patience with him. Films like Transcendence and Mordecai not only failed to resonate with audiences, but even the critics hated them. While Depp's performance as Whitey Bulger in Black Mass was fantastic, the film's high production costs and disappointing returns, combined with the lack of an award campaign, resulted in an Oscar snub. What's even more damaging than the box office numbers is that Depp's once memorable and charming presence, characterized by his rock star outfits, affected voice, and larger-than-life performances, now feels stale and worn out. From delivering multiple box office bombs to the fact that he actually hates acting, this was why Johnny Depp needs to retire from the movies.